What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Welcome to the morning show with myself and Owen, where we take you through the latest Manchester United rumours, latest Man United news, and all the big talking points within the fan base and the club. And my goodness, man, even just on the come down from last night's full view show, if you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out. Huge opinion, huge contrast of opinion, not arguments, but huge back and forths. It's a lot. It's a lot right now, and really, that just shows where we're at in terms of how everybody's feeling, what's going on, where everybody's at. There's so much going on. This morning, Ten Hag and Wilcox crunch talks. Jason Wilcox has reportedly sat down, or is going to sit down at least, with Eric Ten Hag to discuss plans for the future with the squad. Obviously, Jason Wilcox has been in post for about a couple of weeks now.
Couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks.
So loads going on for that. Everyone for sale. We're going to pick up the back end of that from yesterday because, like in full view fashion, we do have sort of something at the beginning that we go, what do you think it is? And then in true full view fashion, it usually tends to go somewhere else. So actually, it's a good point. I've kind of left yesterday's show when didn't actually go into what that bit actually means. We did for like 5 minutes and then it went off on a tangent, which is the beauty of the full view. But the morning show is more rigid in terms of the topics and tackling each one. So definitely we're going to be talking about that. And Antony speaks out as well. He did a piece with The Athletic with some big quotes as well, backing himself, not phased about the price tag, etc., etc. So stay tuned for the rest on Antony. But please smash a like on the video. 250 likes is the base level. That's what we need straight off the bat. There's 400 of you watching already, and we got basically we've just got 70 likes as well. So get onto it. Moyes Drums says, morning Flex, have a great day. I will. Big up to you. Big up Joe Blackman, I see you. Court Star, MA. Big up UV Fam, says Jonathan. Daniel Luciano says, morning Flex and Owen. Big up. Big up everyone, says Simon McGill. Aslan says, Yaga, yo. What's happening? Welcome from Aldershot. Says Bacon Bye. Shout out to everyone from Aldershot. Tabrez, I see you, bro. So many people in there. Get your super chats in, get your regular chats in, get your members chats in. And remember, you can join the membership club if you haven't done so already. Link is in the video description and right there, it's pinned in the chat as well. So very, very easy to do. Red Baron, straight off the bat, straight in with today's first super chat. Big up to you, Red Baron, always on here on the show. Said, I think we should discuss Ten Hag outers and Eric Ten Hag inners and go around in circles for an hour and call it a show. Well, we're actually not.
That's where it is at the moment. That's where it is at the moment.
Absolutely.
And I think, yeah, and also, this is something that gets brought up quite a lot, isn't it? Particularly with like the full view and stuff like that. I think sometimes maybe people confuse like having that conversation as trying to like convince each other of, I think this, so you have to think this. I don't think really many people are going to change their mind. Anything that's going to change people's mind is probably, matches or results or performances or anything like that. Not anything other people say, isn't it? So as long as it can stay, civilized and not cross the line with insults or whatever, then it's what being a fan's all about. Is whether it's in the stands, whether it's outside the ground, whether it's down the pub, whether it's here, you're always going back and forth, going, I kind of disagree on that one, or I kind of agree on that one. That's what being a football fan's all about, isn't it?
Exactly. And especially communities like this one, even more so is what it's all about, where everyone can come together and say what they need to say. Ten Hag and Wilcox talks.
Yeah, so this, like you said, it was a bit of an expansion on the piece from James Ducker yesterday, talking about how everyone for sale, seemingly everyone's going with that line of everyone is for sale. It's kind of what Simon Stone from the BBC was saying, but he sprinkled in a little bit of new information here and there. So he started off by saying that Eric Ten Hag is due to have substantive talks with new technical director Jason Wilcox this week about what he sees as the state of his squad and the problems he is facing. Now, as I said, this is kind of about this larger thing about how everyone is for sale, with Simon Stone saying the same thing that David Ornstein, James Ducker said yesterday, that Manchester United are willing to listen to offers for virtually all of their first team squad this summer, as Sir Jim Ratcliffe looks to turn the club back into challengers for major honours. What about Marcus Rashford? Well, Simon Stone did talk about Marcus Rashford as well, saying it's understood Marcus Rashford is on the list, although club sources are adamant their preference is to keep the England striker and work with him to restore the form that brought him 30 goals for the first time last season. Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, the team that's always seemingly linked with Rashford, have previously been linked external with Rashford and are set to lose their main star Kylian Mbappe, although sources in the past have distanced the Champions League semi-finalists from a move for the 26-year-old. And of the manager, Erik ten Hag's regular starters, as we spoke about yesterday, youngsters Rasmus Højlund, Kobbie Mainoo, and Alejandro Garnacho are thought to be exempt. There is also a couple of other people who are said to be, quite unlikely that they'd be leaving this summer. As Simon Stone says, it would take a major offer before United would even consider selling skipper Bruno Fernandes, goalkeeper Andre Onana, and fullback Diogo Dalot, who signed a new 5-year deal less than 12 months ago. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in there, Flex, isn't there? There's a lot of different things to sort of break down. That title's all over the place. We'll move that back to the center. There you go. Disgrace cheat. But yeah, it's a lot of interesting stuff there with that, because when you hear Ten Hag and Wilcox crunch talks, you might think, does this mean about the manager's future? Does this mean about this? Does it mean about that? And kind of what Simon Stone is saying there, well, it's about everything, isn't it? It's about all of the above. I think, as you mentioned, Wilcox coming in at the moment, he's not the be-all and end-all of the conversation of the decision, because you've still got Omar Barada to come in, who, of course, is more senior than him. We still don't know when Dan Ashworth is going to come in, but Wilcox is already now going to be doing his due diligence. So it's only natural he would sit down to Erik ten Hag and say, right, obviously it's not going well. So tell me why. So why? What do you think? What do you think of this player? What do you think of the problems at United? What do you think you could be doing better? Like what everything.
What do you need? How could the club be different? Yeah, it's just part of that new role, isn't it, really? And if somebody of that significance comes into the club from the footballing side of it, it's just normal that the manager must in capitals sit down with this person to ascertain what's going on and how they move forward. Now, you can look at it and say, like you said, crunch talks. It means to tell you what, he's out, or no, it doesn't mean that at all. This is more crunch talks as in business as usual. But how are we going to change this club around? This is more actually in support of many that are saying, listen, be patient. Let Ten Hag work with the new structure. Let Ten Hag work with the new people who are coming in, and give him a chance. Give him a chance. Now, the fact that Jason Wilcox has done this, or this is what Simon Stone's reporting has happened, also doesn't mean that he's got the vote of confidence. He's staying. Hold that in your faces, all you Ten Hag out. This actually isn't about Ten Hag in or out, this specific situation. It's about a new person coming into their role, like Owen said, doing their due diligence, getting a feel for what's going on. And part of that will be speaking to the manager. And the manager, until told otherwise, in this case, in all cases, that is also about, saying, I'm just going to carry on as normal. These are all the things I've earmarked as what I need for next year. This is what I need in the summer. This is how I think everything's going. These have been some of the big issues. Here's where I see this team in a couple of years, then the third year. That's how Erik ten Hag will be thinking. And that's how he should be thinking. He shouldn't be like, I don't know, I'm not really going to share my notes with you until you let me know if I'm all right. I mean, it's kind of top secret list. Am I good? And then I'll open the book and I'll show you what I've got. You go first. No, that's not how the world of work works. I'm pleased. That's what needs to happen. It's the process, isn't it? It is the process, which you quite rightly keep alluding to, Owen. The new process, though, like it is. This is the clock started again, and people look. It depends how you look at it. People can choose to merge it all into one and say, doesn't matter. We said we'd give this guy 3 years, no matter what happens. We said we're going to back Erik when the times get tough, etc., etc. I still understand why people say that. I do, but you do have to factor in a whole new sort of start of a new regime, which Erik ten Hag had no clue that was going to be there when he signed. We didn't. I don't know if the Glazers did, probably. But, it's his coaching staff and all of the people involved making the football decisions, like John Murtough and Woodward and, all these people that are gone, and Richard Arnold, etc., etc. It's all different. So, he has to have business as usual and work out where he's at.
I think regardless of what side of the argument you're on, I think actually it's a positive either way, really, because I think if you're someone that thinks Erik ten Hag should be given more time to work with this new structure, then that's exactly what this is, isn't it? It's having those discussions to see if they're compatible. They're already technically working with each other, having those conversations of, the report comes out yesterday, everyone's for sale, and they're probably looking to define that, right? Okay, if everyone's for sale and you could get rid of some, who would you want to get rid of? And who are you just kind of using because they're here, but actually in an ideal world, who would you like
Don't
to move
really,
on?
yeah.
You'd be having those conversations. And how in your ideal kind of mind's eye of how you want to play, who can do it and who can't do it, and put them in a column. Who can do it, who can't do it, who's got potential, who doesn't. Like that's a technical director working with a football manager. That's how that should
Job.
work. It would be much more concerning if we got to the end of the season and it was like, yeah, Wilcox and Ten Hag haven't spoken. They haven't had talks. You'd be like, well, that's not good then for Eric and his future, is it? So no, it's what should happen. It's what it's got to be what Jason Wilcox's job is, and I think it's news to quite a few United fans' ears, because whether you're pro or against Ten Hag and his future, I think everyone would agree that a lot of the players that are at Manchester United aren't good enough, for sustained honours or to compete for Premier Leagues or major honours in the future. And there does need to be a clear out. That's very, very clear. It will take longer for some players than others, but to hear there's only a very, very, very select few people that don't really have an asking price on their head, I think that's very good. I think that's very, very good, because I think in the past it'd been, well, let's not rock the boat a bit much. Now, everyone can have a price. Doesn't necessarily mean anyone's going to pay it or anyone's going to come in. There's a difference for that. But at least there's a sense of openness of, no, there's not many safe people here. And that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I'm all for
that's
that.
how it needs to be. Aminor says, Flex, I will be at TC4 for the Arsenal match with my spray can. Yeah, if you know, you know. Shout out Don Robbie and Abby, if you know. Bobby G. Machiavelli says, sipping from a coconut freshly picked from my tree, sitting on my balcony, overlooking the sea. Morning from Barbados, Flex and Owen. Hashtag United. Hashtag stress free. I tell you what, bro. If that's your settings and that's where you're living, and your foot's just up right now, sipping on a coconut from your own tree, definitely hashtag stress free, bro. Definitely. Yeah. That is, I love that. And that's the beauty of the Caribbean, man. And loads of other places in the world where you can do that. But as a personal, I know that. That is the beauty of the Caribbean. Big up yourself, man. All the way out there in Barbados. Fancy that, Owen? In a little hammock, feet up, sipping some coconut water?
Whenever I do go on holiday, I'm not one for, this is going to be a shock to you, Flex, right? Whenever I do go on holiday, I'm not one for doing stuff. I'm not, when you go on holiday and then they're like, let's go do it. Let's do this.
Do an excursion.
We're on holiday. What are we doing? I'm not being like,
stuff.
I'm not being like staying the all inclusive. You know what I mean? And because that's, you just literally
don't go anywhere.
yeah.
Which not is like nice that. Sometimes, like to go to, but you
sometimes,
get out sometimes.
But like I'm not, like sometimes you go on holiday. Let's go on a tour of this place. Let's go and explore this thing. I'm like, why?
No, I love getting out. You got.
I want to relax.
You're there.
Yeah, I don't want to be more tired. I don't want to be more tired. I don't want to fly all that way and then do loads of stuff and
look about.
But sometimes people do want to do that. They go, let's go.
Yeah, I don't want to hike.
And I'm like, go.
I wouldn't. But going on a catamaran, going on a boat with music, and then they're going to show me places.
If that was relaxing, if they said, let's go on a boat, and then you go, what are we going to do on the boat? And they go, no, just relax. I'll be like, that's cool. That's cool. But like, I mean, doing stuff like.
What are you going to do on a boat? Sailing. You got to put the sails up. Yeah,
but like when people are like, let's go see this thing, and you go, is it going to require like a lot of walking, a lot of standing around? Yes. You
go. Owen Meldred. Back to Jason Wilcox. I think it will be interesting to see as this goes on. I'd love for him to do an interview. Actually, would be good. I'm sure that'll probably come at some point, maybe.
Actually, I was thinking, that's a good point. Actually,
nice for him to do a sit down
at some point.
I mean, sometimes maybe they might go, let's just get some quotes from him from an in-house thing, or maybe they might not put him in front of a camera. But I don't know. I'd like to see him speak since he's been here. But it'd be interesting to see like his action, like how much influence he has over certain bits. I'd love a breakdown of that from an insider or from the horse's mouth or from Sir Jim or whoever. Because I know he's done so much good work sort of at academy level, especially at City. And then obviously stepping into Southampton, more senior role. But I would love to know, is it is his job more? I know he's tasked with just, overseeing, first team stuff and, transfers, this, that, and that. But I want to know, how much is he involved with the academy? Is that changing? Is it to neutralize that, or to keep building upon the great work, Nick Cox has done in there and others? Is it that, or is it no? It's all first team. It's all new transfers. Is it more the scouting side of it, or working with the scouts to work out who we're going for? I think it's probably less in terms of negotiations, i.e., right, we're going to pay you this much. Right, we'll offer you this much bonus. I think that's more an Omar Barada thing, or more of a Dan Ashworth side. But I just want to know where he fits in, and just how much sort of influence he has. Because again, we should question these things. People are right when they say, just because Ineos are getting new guys, don't just think it's all perfect and stuff like that. And I 100% agree. You do need to sort of step back sometimes and not just go, look, we've got all these new guys, it'll be perfect. Yeah, Jason Wilcox. Yeah, but what does he actually do? What's his actual role? Okay, so he does this. Yeah, we're getting Dan Ashworth's got great reputation. He's doing this, doing that. Okay, what's he, when he gets here, what's the actual thing he's doing? And sometimes you don't get just the manual that tells you Dan Ashworth, right, he does exactly this. But sometimes you've got to do a lot of research and speak to some people inside and whatever. But I'm just really intrigued to know, back to Jason Wilcox, just what his main forte is, because I know he's mostly known for the City Academy.
Yeah, I think initially probably there's going to be a bit of overlap because there aren't people in roles yet, isn't it? So at the moment, he's going to be doing a chief executive role, because we've still got an interim CEO, don't we? But there's going to be maybe some things that he's having to do over the summer that maybe he's like, well, if Dan was here, I probably wouldn't be as involved. I've got to be spread a little bit thin, But the fact that John Murtaugh's no longer here would imply he's going to be involved in some of that stuff, isn't he? Of course. It depends on other hires as well. If we're going to be bringing in, like, I don't know, someone else is going to be involved in negotiations, someone else is going to be involved, like you said, or what is going to be his link with the academy, with Nick Cox and all that kind of stuff.
Because the actual briefing, when we just go, obviously it was short, but just he's joined as technical director with immediate effect. He will work with all technical areas of the football department to achieve the highest standards of performance. All technical areas. I mean, it's really broad.
Well, and also, what it's like when you start a new job. Sometimes I've worked in jobs before where you interview and you get it, and then you look at your job spec or whatever. Then 6 months in, you look at your job spec again. You go, I do none of that. That doesn't even cover that. So things change, things evolve. But to your point, it's going to be important for Ineos to define that, because part of the problem, I suppose, even a few years ago, that position, that title didn't even exist at Manchester United. It's only till recently that the technical director jobs actually existed. And it was Darren Fletcher doing it. And then again, he wasn't really what a technical director was. He's like out on the pitch with the coaching stuff. So it is important that they define that. What do you actually want to do? But then I think they would have done that prior to even recruiting for the guy, probably. So no, like I said, I think just circling back to it, I think it is important news, exciting news. Obviously, proof is in the pudding, because the response. I can't believe the blind faith in Ineos and all that kind of jazz. But I mean, we've said this so many times, haven't we, about the summer? It is going to be a really interesting and fascinating summer. Would Ineos make a statement by selling a player that you go, I tell you what?
Yeah, that would make our ears prick up in it. And
wow, that's pretty significant. Will it be more of the same? Will we get completely just embarrassed when it comes to negotiations? Will we not sell anyone? Will we struggle? Will we have links of like, this player's going to this club, and then 2 weeks later go?
Yeah. Well, the leaks and stuff is still a huge problem.
Yeah, exactly. But then even that might be a bit different, when it's like Man United are linked to this player, 2 days later you get, here we go from Romano. Maybe it's going to be that fast. I mean, as much as I've criticised Chelsea's approach to transfers, and I still do, and I still will. You notice when Clear Lake first came in and Todd Boehly first came in, just like the way they negotiated obviously was a lot different to the way like Abramovich's era. Like, it was a lot quicker. You just suddenly heard Chelsea have swooped in and here we go. I'm not saying Man United are going to be the same, but it's different. There will be different. So I hope anyway, there's not the long drawn out Manchester United. But then if it is, they're right to be criticised for that, because you would then say, well, not a lot's really changed there. So I'm very curious. I have no idea what to expect for the summer flex. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I was going to get some of your comments. There's some super chats to read out, but also people in the comments section as well. Stretford Gamer says, I feel like the Pharaoh will make his appearance soon. And Wizard said probably. Wizard says some staff have done many jobs you wouldn't think they do, which is exactly. And Tabra says, facts, Owen. Every single job I've ever worked has been the same with what Owen was saying. So look at job scripts, you go, I haven't done that for ages. And Jaffa says, Flex, he's talking about you. Stop overworking Owen, LOL. Laughing emoji. And well, we believed in the Glazers, so why not believe in Ineos, says the Black Red. Interesting. And super chats, Red Baron says, it's healthy to get away from football drama. It absolutely is. Make sure you do that.
Absolutely,
Do not let it consume you and just be negative. There is so much more to life than football. And Kishan says, love the channel, but is there a reason why on the full view the headline was player clearer, but the focus was still mainly on Erik ten Hag? There was no opinion on which players we would keep / sell. Sorry, but just my opinion. No, Kishan, very, very good super chat. This is, I don't know if you've just joined, but this is what we literally said at the start of the show. I was like, actually, that's why we've still got that as one of our topics today, because we were supposed to discuss that in depth and we skimmed over it at the start. And then just because that's where people's heads and hearts and what they want to get off their chest is at, it pivoted to Erik ten Hag, the team, the future, the past. It just pivoted from everything apart from that. So that's what me and Owen will do in the next part of the show in 2 seconds, about, you know, who should stay, who should go, everyone for sale, and really dive into what that means, as well as talking about Antony speaking out as well. So big up to you, Kishan. Valid point. No need to apologize as well, by the way. So big up to you. PJ says, it can't be a coincidence that any other Premiership manager except Chelsea have a better style of play, and probably a few Championship managers as well, with man-for-man crapper players. Big up, PJ. 204 likes, guys. We've got over 1,100 people watching. We want to get to that 250 as well. Let's do that. There's no reason why we can't. And also share the video. Let's get to 1,200, 1,300 people watching live, and make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Robert Pastore says, Pharaoh intro. Check your emails, Owen.
Oh, interesting.
Someone might have sent you a little new Pharaoh special.
Oh,
it's interesting. Yeah, check your emails. Check your emails.
Have a look.
Have a little look.
Yeah.
But also you got multitask, because the next bit is everyone for sale.
Yeah, everyone for sale. But it's kind of continuation. So to the point of the super chat there, if everyone's for sale, who would you let go in the summer? And I guess how much for?
Yeah, well,
it's difficult. It's difficult.
Yeah, it's very difficult. There's actually many ways of doing this, right? And I think it's important to say it before you do it. I did this on Saturday Social on Sky on Saturday, ironically, and the comments, because people aren't listening to the context, people will jump to conclusions that aren't really what you say. But let's get into it and actually discuss player for player and stuff. So like
you're telling me you want to get rid of Varane and keep Maguire? That's basically
Maguire is better, and Maguire can defend in a high line, and Maguire should be the captain.
It's exactly what you're saying.
And Varane is rubbish and never ever plays well. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yes.
So I think you have to state that there's two ways of doing this. One way is completely forget about sort of reality and just do it on pure footballing ability of like, who do you want gone and who do you want to stay? Forget about contracts and money and who's on their way out, how much business is to be done. Oh, you can't get 4 centre-backs in one transfer window, so, 2 have to stay. So forget all of that. Just do it just on like who's good and who's rubbish. And then you have to then there's a separate second one, which is like more of what's actually realistic in terms of, I know all of these players can't go at once, but here's like, because of a contract situation or because of wages or because of this or because of injuries, this is why I'd let this player go. So there's different ways of doing it. And I think you have to be sensible. But to not drag on my part of it, I'll just get to the ones that maybe that are most surprising or, controversial. For me, Luke Shaw, over. For me, again, people push back and say, when he's fit, he's this, he's that, he's really good. And I agree. But it's too inconsistent. and just not available. And for me, the availability situation we've just moaned all year about injuries. We've just had our worst ever sort of setbacks with injuries. But also, Luke Shaw has been in that camp for his whole Man United career. Not his fault. Great guy. Really like Luke Shaw, but not reliable. What do you want us to do? Raphael Varane, my favourite player. No more Player FC. I would love him to stay, but when I look at it, he's been available for 50% of the game since he's been here. He's like 48% was the stat I saw when I was on Saturday Social. When you hear it like that, it's like, can't rely on Rafa. He's only available for half the games. Half. How can we build upon that? Again, if we're looking at injuries and we're looking at, we need a settled back four. Don't judge Eric Ten Hag until he has everyone available. Well, the evidence tells us that Varane's going to be available 50-50, so we can't build. The evidence tells us that Luke Shaw is going to be available 50-50. We can't build on it. So even on that metric, forget how good they are. Can't rely on it. So already that's a cross for me. And the wages, and he's already going to leave on a free if he doesn't agree lesser terms. So there you go. Casemiro, I would let him go. 3 years deal. He's on loads of money. I don't see how, in terms of how good he is as well, I don't think he offers us what we really need right now in terms of where we want the team to be. So I'd cash in on him. I said I would keep Bruno. I said I would let Rashford go if the right offer came in, which is what the club is essentially saying as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, their preference is to keep him, though, so that's a bit different. But I would.
And if he wants to leave, they're saying.
And if he wants to leave, he can. The main three that the club have mentioned or we've seen in the news reports, obviously, Kobe, Garnacho, and Rasmus. That's a no-brainer. I would keep Martinez, but again, it's been a torrid injuries this season. Next season, really, he has to have a good preseason and make sure he's not injured for the foreseeable because Ed Kenny could end up having a point that we really didn't think he did. Yeah. So I'd keep him. Mason Mount, of course, I'd keep him. I think he's been ravaged with injury this year. Again, like what Owen says, if he doesn't stay fit next year, massive problem. He's going to have to go in the next batch of transfers. But for now, he can stay for me. Who else was surprising? Maguire. People were like, you've kept Maguire, but you've let Varane go. Didn't say I want him to start. Didn't say we need to build our team around him. Just with all the sort of things that we have to do in the summer, Varane probably going to leave on a free. Lindelof's got a year left, so you have to decide what's going on. Johnny Evans is a free agent. There's three there straight away. So it's like Maguire's turned it around. Can he be a squad player? Well, he can. We've seen that. But also, again, it comes with context and caveats. If Maguire, a big offer, substantial offer coming for Harry Maguire, got to sell him. If 30 million comes in for Harry Maguire, got to sell him. So I would only keep him just based on the amount of centre-back activity we have to do and who I think will go, but it could well change. I'm not keeping him because I think he's the future. Give him a new deal. Wan-Bissaka, it's time. I'd keep Dalot. I'd keep Onana. Antony, if the right offer comes, he can go. Who else is there? Martial's no point discussing. Scott McTominay, I said I'd keep him as a squad player as well. We've got to do a lot of business in midfield. Amrabat's going to leave. I'd let Eriksen go. Mason Mount, we've got to get up to speed. So for me, Scott McTominay is a squad player. I don't mind him having that role at all as a squad player, but the same applies. If substantial money comes in for Scott McTominay, 25 million, he wants to leave, get some decent money for him, not opposed to that. So there's loads more, but I don't want to hog the floor, Owen.
So this is only this summer that you're talking about. Only this summer, right? Because for me, I'm at a place with it that you could name any player apart from a very select few that I wouldn't be like, oh, okay, cool, they can go. Like I'm not attached to any. I think that, like you said, if a good offer came in for any, then I'm like, oh, okay. Apart from like Kobe, Garnacho, Højlund, even like Bruno. If someone came in and was like, here's 80 million quid for Bruno Fernandes, I'd give the eyebrow. I'd be like,
you have to listen to that.
Anyone, honestly, because they're just not up to snuff. They're not. And like I said, if you're going to go specifically this summer, then obviously that changes a little bit. But long term, this summer, next summer, again, the place you want to be for this Man United squad is in like 2 years, 3 years time. You look at that squad versus this squad, you got to tell you what, there's barely any players left from that squad just a couple of years ago. That's the kind of gutting that Manchester United need. And that's why you need to get in experts to do it, because it's going to be a tough job. There's a lot of unpicking to do, isn't there? Like you said, with the wages and the ability to move those players on when they know that the next contract they get is going to be much smaller. So there's a lot to do there. But you're looking at players this summer. I mean, the centre-back one's interesting because Varane's going to go, isn't he? And then, like you said, there's a lot of centre-backs that possibly could be going. So you go, oh, it looks like either Maguire or Lindelof could stay. Lindelof's got a year left on his contract. Maguire's got a couple, but you could get more money for Harry Maguire than you could for Victor Lindelof. And I still sort of go, well, if he has a decent Euros, Maguire, you could, and that'll be a Premier League club, I think, that would put a £30 million offer in. It's the same situation as it was last year with Harry Maguire. Is he willing to leave this time around?
I don't think he is.
Or does he go, well, I might want to stick around? And if that is the case,
then he's going to choose to go to, especially after a decent week, he's not going to choose to go to West Ham and I just don't think he will. Wants to stay at the top for as long as possible.
Then you're going to have to cash in on Lindelof, and he would go. Lindelof would go, I think, at this point. And then you look at Wan-Bissaka. He can go, obviously. I think he had a bit of a resurgence last season, but this season, particularly in more recent weeks, he's got exposed quite a lot. And maybe that's because he's sometimes playing at left back and he's having to play constantly. But I think that it's pretty decided that, again, long term, if you're going to really succeed, you need more from your fullbacks just in general, don't you? So Wan-Bissaka can go. McTominay, I think he's kind of Man United's ace in the hole in the summer. I really do think that, because, again, he's an academy player. So if they can get, it was like the same as it was last year with him. If they can get like 30, 35, 40 million from McTominay, it's pure profit. So they're going to take it. And they should. Now, if you're saying, like you said, oh, he can stay as a squad player, that's not like, oh, you think McTominay's going to start every single game. The reality should be that if Man United have got a fit squad, McTominay doesn't play that much at all.
Which is what was happening. That was happening.
But you bring him on in the hope that he can get a goal like he's done this season. Rashford. Hey, I'd float it around this summer. I'd see, right, let's see what we're going. And I kind of, the more I think about it, and I kind of disagreed with it initially, but with what KG was saying, the timing of that tweet, and then when that report came out yesterday, the more I do think about it, it does kind of feel like dipping your toe into the water a little bit, going,
KG's got a point there when you see it from this point, yeah.
Well, because I guess the mindset would have been with Rashford that because he signed a 5-year contract last season, he definitely wouldn't be for sale because, he's got so much time left in his contract. But then with the season, how it's played out, with his tweet, the more you think about it, maybe this is a bit tinfoil hat of me, but it does kind of maybe feel like a little bit like, well, maybe United just have to remind everyone, he does have a price. That contract, and maybe he also might be a little bit open to that. Like the timing of it feels more than just a coincidence, doesn't it? That does feel a bit more of than just a coincidence. So I'd say maybe watch that one in the summer too. That would be a statement by Ineos. Of course, Antony, if someone put a bid in for the summer, I think the struggle is with that one. Same way as it's going to be for a lot of them, is that nowadays, if a player doesn't want to leave, there's nothing they can do. There's literally nothing they can do. Look at the Frankie de Jong situation. A couple of summers ago, we had a deal agreed with Barcelona for Frankie de Jong. The one thing they hadn't anticipated is Frankie de Jong going, I'm not leaving. What are you doing? I'm not leaving. So with like Antony in the summer, of course, I'd sell him. I mean, we're going to talk about him, his price tag in a minute, but his return, his performances, they're just not good enough. And moving forward at Manchester United, I just don't think he's cut out for it. And if someone put a bid in the summer, I think United would accept it. But for him, what's he on, 200k a week? He ain't going anywhere. He is just not going to go anywhere. And United, and that's when I talk about, Jason Wilcox and Omar Barada and Dan Ashworth when they come in. That's the kind of level of stuff they've got to unpick, because they're like, right, how do we figure that one out? How do we do something like that? Even if it's a case of looking at an Antony and going, right, we know we can't sell him because he won't leave because he's on this contract, but can we arrange like a loan? And maybe someone can pick up some of his wages and we can get a little bit of a fee. At least maybe we can do that or something, right? That's what they've got to try and figure out too. So that's the tough part. But then again, you could name a bunch of players. Luke Shaw, I agree. I don't think he will go. But
no, I don't think so.
After his last injury, it was like we need to do left back. We do.
Long injuries as well.
Enough when it comes to that. And that's why I said with Ten Hag, we're talking about we need consistency in the team selection. then you've got to look at those players that are consistently not available and go, well, then I just cannot rely on you. I can't, it's one of my biggest bugbears about, well, when he's fit, he's this, that, and the other. If you have to say when he's fit, if you have to preface it by saying when he's fit, it's already a problem. Because they've done it with so many players throughout the years, and Arsenal used to do it with Jack Wilshere. Oh, when he's fit, yeah, but he's not. So that's the problem. Antony Martial, yeah, but when he's fit, but he's not. He hasn't been for like 3 or 4 years. You have to be ruthless when it comes to that. And we've seen this season what can happen if you don't have players consistently available. And you're not saying that players have to be like Bruno Fernandes, play every single game and never get injured because he's a freak in that regard. Like, this doesn't happen that often. But like you said, with Luke Shaw, I think he's another one. He's missed like 50%, nearly 50% of the games since he signed for Manchester
9
United.
years. Like, it's just
can't. You just cannot do that.
You can't defend it. Like, it's harsh. It's not nice. Like, again, like when Luke Shaw is on song, like he's good. He's very good. I like Luke Shaw. We just can't build something with that. Like,
yeah, like I said, if you have to do
that
thing,
people either want us to be ruthless with this new regime or operate off sentiment. And sentiment is going, well, we did get him, as a kid from Southampton all them years ago. He's been a great servant. That's sentiment talking, not the reality of what does the data show us? What does the evidence show us over a massive sample size as well, by the way? Not just, I'll tell you what, it's not like the Martinez one where first season he played near enough all the games, got injured near the end, and now there's a bit, I have to wait and see. No, this is 9 years.
Yeah, and again, for me, if you have,
and he was really unlucky with the original leg break, by the way. I'm not,
of course,
I'm not trying to say it's his fault.
Of course, like I said, but if you have to have that thing of when he's fit, he's X, Y, Z. Like, then you're already into that territory of this is a problem. This is an issue. Yeah. And we got a couple of them at Manchester United. So, like you said, you need to be ruthless. You need to we need to get rid, move on. Now, when we say that, like I said, that doesn't mean that Shaw's going to go in the summer. I'd be very surprised if he did. But as you're looking, you have to start almost the phasing out process, don't you? You have to be like, right, let's get a left back, and Luke Shaw's the backup now. And and then maybe at the end of the next season he goes, well, I can't be a backup for much longer. I've got to do something else. Or he proves that he can stay fit for a season. But I don't know if that's even possible. It might be if he's playing less games. But we need to change in that regard. We need to be more ruthless. Like I said, can't be acting on sentiment.
No, we can't. Andil says, in midfield, we need people who can keep possession, and in the back line, you need pace. If we agree we want the high line pressing, dominating football, keep Ten Hag and take away talent ID from him. So give that to Jason Wilcox, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, etc., and let Ten Hag just coach, I suppose is what you're saying. Red Baron says, Flex, how did you get into being a DJ? Oh, that's left. How did I get into it? Through family. It goes through my family, through generations. My granddad had a sound system in Jamaica, and then when he came here, on both sides, my grandparents always into music, and then my dad and uncles had sound systems, reggae sound systems, dancehall sound systems, and played all over London. My other uncle was a garage DJ, UK garage, learned that, and I was just been around music since my whole life, really. So at age of like 10, 11, it's all I've known. Got my decks when I was young, kept practicing, and been a DJ ever since. And my mum actually gave me the name Flex.
When it was a 100K party, he came out of retirement, and he was like, I'm going to come out of retirement. I'm going to do some DJing at the thing. And I wish we recorded it, because Flex was he was moving some like files from this one laptop to an old one. And he was looking at this like music, and it was me and him in a room, and he's going, do you like this song? Do you know this song? I was like, no.
Oh yeah.
Do you like this song? No. And then he started getting all young and Flex. He went, Barbie Girl, do you like that? He's going through like 90 classics. I was like, what are we doing?
No, I just fool you, I can Flex. And then, funny enough, though, you lot all laugh at Flecknology. When it comes to like music Flecknology, not a problem, mate. No Serato, turntables. You know what I'm saying? CDJs.
He's doing all this. He's doing all this.
No
So that's what they do, isn't it? They go,
how's it go?
Press that button. And they flick their hands, don't they, like that? I like it. Got to be dramatic, especially if you're that. Those big like festivals, whatever, and there's like thousands of people.
Yeah, you got to give
And
it.
there's
You
one,
got, yeah.
exactly. You're not going to be
Can't
there
stand
going,
there. Yeah.
I would.
Yeah. Shout out to any DJs in the chat as well. But yeah, I'm a big lover of music as well. Flex knows about dubs, 100%. What do you mean Flex actually knows about dub plates? Not actually knows, actually has dub plates. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this. Did Flex tell me you got a dub plate? Yes, I do. Many. Dub plate, Owen, is how shall I explain it to you? It is a bespoke, unique song created by an artist for a DJ. So they make a version of a popular song specifically for you. It will say Owen, DJ Churchill, and and in the sound clash kind of styles, it could be used to counteract another sound system. So if you really go deep into it, you can get dub plates that say I was having a clash with you.
Yeah,
I would go to say, this is in dancehall terms, but let's just keep it so you can understand.
I'm already hanging
I'd go to Drake. If me and you were having a sound clash,
go on,
a dub clash, yeah. I would go to Drake and say, I'm clashing Owen. I want you to sing Started From the Bottom. You know that song?
I do.
I want you to sing that, but like I want you to cuss Owen in it.
Right.
So Drake would be like, yo, shout out my guy DJ Flex. Owen started from the bottom and he's still there. Whatever. He'd change the lyrics to get at you.
Oh.
Really, really bespoke. One of one. They're very expensive as well.
How do they get that? From the person themselves?
No, you go. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, it's not AI.
Could they do that with AI now?
They can now. Well, Drake just done a diss the other day with Tupac.
And he got told to take it down, didn't he? Did you see that?
He did. Yeah.
That's what I said when someone brought it up. I said, you can't do that. He's dead.
Yeah.
How can you do that? How can you get someone to cuss someone from the grave?
Exactly. AI, mate. But cut a long story short, it's bespoke, unique songs made directly from the person. You have to pay a lot of money for them. Because as you can imagine, they're so exclusive. It's only you have it. And
how many
depending on how
then?
I've got quite a few. A few. They're not also, it depends who it is. Like smaller artists might cost, £300 for 3 minutes.
Right. Have you got
some artists charge like, I've got Danae, I've got Gigs.
I know him.
Got a couple of UK grime ones. Skepta. Who else? Got some reggae artists as well who you definitely won't know, but Popcorn, got him. Chuck Fender, Taurus Riley. The list goes on. But anyway, let's the music view. Joe Fleming says we got to be careful we don't do a Chelsea though. Certainly in terms of keeping experience in the squad, even if you change most of the starting lineup. True. That is true. We can't just because look at if we don't have any experienced players, you just got a bunch of young players. Then you just never know how they're going to do it. It's very, very difficult. Antony speaks out though. What did he say, Owen?
Yeah, so he spoke, like you said, to The Athletic, spoke about a variety of topics, one being his transfer fee being £86 million, $108 million as well. I don't know why they put it in dollars. It's The Athletic, I suppose, American. But he said that the transfer fee doesn't really impact me because I know my worth. The money is the money, and obviously everyone speaks about it, but no one would if the performances of everyone and myself were at the top. So at least acknowledging that. It's something that is just a way of working harder, knowing I can get better. I know my worth, and I will show it. He also said the critics are going to exist, and it's something that makes me want to work harder and prove myself first. I'm going to keep working, giving everything for the group because it's most important to have a good mentality and to be focused. Do you like what you hear there, Flex, from Antony when he's talking about his transfer fee?
Listen, he has to back himself. He has to back himself, doesn't he? I mean, if Antony's going to come out and speak, it should, you don't expect him to say, oh, no, the price tag's too much and I'm really struggling with that and I don't know if I'm going to make it here. That's the truth. I'm battling every day and I don't know if I'm good enough. He's not going to say that, is he? He has to back himself. I've got no problem with things like that. People can see things like that and make memes and go, oh, flipping it, mate. Are you sure? This, that, and the other. Guy's got to back himself. He has to back himself at all times. He's clearly going through an awful, awful time since he's come to Man United. It hasn't gone to plan. First season, because it was his first season, it was more okay. Let's suss this guy out. We saw the Antony Spinaroonie was backing him, saying, let him express himself. He's Brazilian. All the haters, they just want to see us be miserable and, be doing all right. Third in the league, got Carabao Cup, leave him alone. You know what I mean? Scored against Bayern, scored against Arsenal on his debut, a couple of big goals. So, not Bayern, sorry, Barca. So look, first year we were like, okay, he's all right. Let's see him kick on. And then obviously this year has just been terrible. So he's in a bad place. He's been in a bad place. He's admitted that. We can see that. I mean, when he scored against Newport, he was basically crying and passion, and so he's going through it. So he's going to back himself. He should back himself. Whether or not it turns around into what we want him to be or what we think we've bought, it's a different question. But absolutely, the self-belief from him and the strength of character to keep wanting the ball, keep trying. I definitely don't fault him for that. He tries.
Yeah, I mean, look, the problem is with Antony, isn't it? Is that if we purchased him for the original sort of scouted price of like £40 million, then the conversation wouldn't be as big. He'd still be a disappointment of a signing because he still wouldn't have lived up to that. Because you said like this season in particular, he's not done all that much at all. But it's I look at it as sometimes with certain managers, they're kind of defined by big signings, aren't they? Like, with Ollie, it was 80 million, Harry Maguire, Ten Hag. It's always going to be 86 million pounds, Antony. And as we've said multiple times, with those big players, well, players that have a big fee rather. So you look at like Declan Rice, no one talks about that fee anymore, do they? No one even brings it up because if you deliver, it's the quickest way to shut down any talk about transfer price or wages or whatever, because suddenly you become value for money, don't you? As of right now, Antony is not value for money, and I don't think he will become value for money. And yeah, like you said, last season was an interesting one, wasn't it, with him? Because it was kind of like the jury was still out, wasn't it? It was like, well, in some games he's done, okay, scored some goals in some important games. But this season, we're going to have to see. And obviously, look, a lot's happened outside of football this year with him as well, which clearly does play a factor. But I just can't. I cannot see him reaching that ever. £86 million. You'd be like, oh yeah, you got value for money. That's just it's crazy. It's crazy. But like I said, if the only way to overcome those big fees is if you deliver. Put it this way: if Arsenal win the league this season, yeah, they're going to be like, oh yeah, we spent too much money on Declan Rice. Of course not.
No, mate, they already say they ain't spent enough, even now.
Yeah, they'll be like,
It's so good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So good.
Yeah.
And that's just it with transfer fees. You do have to be careful. But when you are going to go and spend big, you have to be absolutely sure that it's the right guy. And that's not easy to do. Declan Rice, with such a big sample size already in the Premier League and what he was doing, I don't want to say 105 million is a safe bet on any player, but I feel like it kind of was with him. You know he's never going to be totally rubbish, and but I mean, even with how well he's done, though, that's still superseded. He's having his best season he's ever had. Goals, assists, taking court, he's doing everything. But it's more of a safer bet than, like you're saying, paying 80 million, 75 million, all that, like the Pepe thing, 80 million from a guy from not this league. Don't really know. More of a, you know what I mean? Way more.
Yeah, I think whenever you get up to that bit, it's always a risk because every transfer is a risk. So obviously, then the more you spend, the more the risk.
Well, 50 million for Torres at the time from Liverpool. It was, I tell you what, it's a lot of money, but look how good he is. That's a banker.
Go back further than that. I remember when Chelsea signed Andrei Shevchenko. I think it was for like 38. And that, honestly, it cannot be stressed if you weren't alive at the time or whatever. 38 million at the time for a striker. That was obscene, wasn't it? It was like, what?
Big money. Big money, man.
And it was like Shevchenko, Champions League, Shevchenko. Oh, he's going to be amazing. He's going to be amazing. Terrible.
Crespo was terrible.
Yeah, again, I even remember when we signed Veron. I was like, what, 20 or something like that? And the outrage of that's just obscene.
Yeah, big money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It really is. International says, hang on a sec, actually. Let me get that off. There you go. VK. Oh no, let me go up a little bit more. Joe Fleming. Right, okay. So Aminor says Rashi will follow where his mate Trent goes. I don't know about that.
Madrid? They still think Trent's going to go to Madrid.
I don't know. I haven't really seen anything on that, really. Got to look at it, though, because you never know his contracts.
Hey, Madrid are just building, the best young players in Europe, aren't they? It's scary. They're frightening.
Yeah, exactly. VK says, it's been a member for 22 months, by the way, VK. Says, been a while, caught a show live. Keep it up, UV. Smash the likes, 100%. 327 likes so far, and just under 1,400 people watching live as well. So, again, let's get to 400. I want to say 500, but let's do 400. There's not long left of the show. International says, do you think Ahmad will ever get a start under Eric Ten Hag? I don't know, mate. I
thought if it was going to come,
not out of choice. Yeah,
no,
not out
that's
of
what
choice.
I mean. I thought if it was going
If
to
he's
come,
forced
it would be that Burnley or Sheffield United. I really thought it would come in those games, but it hasn't. So like you said, if maybe someone else has got to get injured.
Yeah, which please just no more. We just really don't want that.
Yeah.
VK with another contribution as well. I've just caught my eye here as well. Jerry Pereira says, Flex, was you too young to go to Tudor Rose? No, I was not. Tudor Rose in Southall, man. That was a big venue, man. Some trouble in there sometimes as well. But no, that was a wicked venue. Staple of the community, Tudor Rose, man. So yeah. Oh, and that's just like a little spot in London that used to like hold a lot of events and dances in there as well. So yeah, it was wicked. I wanted to talk just quickly about the players coming back this week, because we got a whole week, then into the Monday, and just to sort of think how everyone's feeling like with who's coming back and what could potentially happen and how you want these guys to get back. I think because we was on a show and I think who said no, I don't want them to play. No, it was Micah. That was it. Before we started against Bournemouth, we were just talking about the squad and that and people coming back. He's like, I don't want like Varane and Martinez and Shaw. I don't want to save them for the final. Don't let them play. Like, how are we all seeing this? How are we all feeling? You as well, Owen. Eric said that they're kind of back in individual training. They have to do team training this week, so that should be a good full week for them to do it, including sort of Saturday, the weekend, into the game on Monday night. Do you think we could see anyone back this week? And secondly, how would you, because there's 4 games left, do you try and get these guys up to speed in some minutes in the tank, obviously before the big one? Because surely you don't want the first game to be the big one against City.
What wasn't Micah's thing as well? Is if they hadn't played games, he didn't want them in the final or something like that as well, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry.
That was it. He said, well, I don't want him.
He
says, I don't want him just to play like. So Martinez hasn't played, and then we just play him in the final, which I kind of do understand what he's saying. They're like going, that's not the game to be getting up to speed. So now, considering our position in the league and what we have done to ourselves in the Prem this season, maybe then like the focus should just be like, let's just get these players back and just, and get them up to speed, ready to hopefully sort of peak when it comes to the final. I said it is a bit of a benefit, I suppose, that we're playing on Monday. So maybe some players will be back. I mean, Leacher did say, because he was at Wembley a couple of weeks ago, wasn't he? He was standing with the team at penalties, and he was saying soon. And I remember when he picked up that injury, they did say a couple of weeks. So maybe it would be around now.
We're forgetting it's not the big ACL. It's not the other one. It's just a calf strain.
Exactly. So he might be back. The interesting one is someone like Mason Mount. Even if he's fully fit, would he even start? Because he's not been.
No, he's not. Anyway,
you know what I mean?
He's been out of the plan for too long. He's been injured too long.
Exactly.
And then Ten Hag doesn't know him from the season before.
No,
to say, like, I know that you know what I want you to do. He's never going to start. Which it's again, someone of his quality, I just don't get it. Like, I know he's been out for a long time, so again, you want to ease him back and give. But bringing him on for like 4 minutes against Bournemouth and shit like that, I'm just like, surely he can play 15. Or let's start increasing his minutes, but we just don't really see it.
It's more, I think, when we talk about players coming back, it's more the defenders, isn't it? The hope is maybe we can get that back 4 that we had last season back for maybe the last, 2 games and then into the FA Cup final, because Varane's on his way back and it wasn't getting. They said he's going to play before the end of the season. Sure, they said he's going to play before the end of the season. We know Martinez is back. So again, so maybe that. But the thing is, that's 3/4 of the defense. So even if they're not all going to come in at the exact same time, you're not going to be like, okay, Arsenal, right? They're all back. Let's play them all. You'd be like, well, that's a brand new defense.
And we're playing for nothing, so there's no point even trying to rush. You may as well get them all perfectly ready for the cup final.
Exactly.
We've been taking pain for quite a while anyway. What's a little bit more? That's I know that's quite defeatist, but let's be honest, these next 4 games, like we said, the genuine question is, I'll tell you what, will we get another point? Because Crystal Palace under the lights, we know what that's all about. Newcastle at home, we know what that's just Newcastle, we know what that's about. Arsenal at home, we know what that's about. Brighton have checked out, and it will be the last game of the season. I mean, they are awful right now. That could be probably a draw or something. I don't know. No one will care. Both teams will just not care. De Zerbi won't even care. He's always trying to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, but knowing us, we'll still find a way.
De Zerbi as well, isn't it? Because he linked to like 4 jobs. He's going to go to
Oh.
Barca, he's going to go to Bayern, he's going to go to Liverpool. They've all disappeared. It's very
and then he was saying in the thing, "Oh, I need to talk to the owners, find out."
Because he was like the way he was talking,
putting himself out there, mate, for that Liverpool job.
Yeah, the way he was talking is that he was gone, and somebody's got a release clause, wasn't it? And suddenly those jobs he was linked to, it's all not happening now.
I saw some Brighton fans online; they weren't happy with how he was talking. But honestly, yeah, the next 4 games, I don't want to be pessimistic. There's a high chance we get rinsed. There's a high chance. Or don't win many, draws and just not winning many or doing silly things. I mean, the mood that Arsenal are in.
If we play like we've been playing recently, you know what I mean?
But weirdly, in them games, we don't.
Well, not even necessarily that. In those games, we do. But this happened against Liverpool a few times this season, is that sometimes we don't play well and it drags the other team down. And the match just turns into, you just go, this is a really bad game of football.
Arsenal won't do that though. Not this Arsenal side.
And unless, like you said, the thing is with this Arsenal team at the moment, isn't it? Is that they are sort of doing things that in previous years they hadn't done. Obviously, they went to City and they drew, and they're like, "Oh, that's a big step," and blah blah blah. Like you said, their recent record at Old Trafford is rubbish. And what is quite fun, I suppose, when you're as bad as we are, and you play a team like with the Liverpool games, and we beat them in the FA Cup and we draw. They didn't beat us, this season. That's when you sort of go, look. We're shit, and you can't beat us. That's embarrassing for you. Earlier on this season, like when we got the draw at Anfield, I can't believe you celebrated the draw at Anfield. You don't understand. We're rubbish.
Yeah, we're rubbish.
We're rubbish.
And you played us twice after that, still didn't beat us.
Don't put the thing on us. Be like, how embarrassing for you? How embarrassing for you? You can't beat us. Yeah. We can't even beat Burnley. We couldn't beat Coventry in normal time. So no, that's embarrassing for you. Okay,
from 3-0
not for us. Yeah, exactly. So
we are bad. Nem Green says can't trust these players coming back from injury. 5-10 minutes, they get injured. Never seen anything like it. It's just ridiculous. And every time you try and get your head around some players coming back and that, they're gone again. Milan says, "Big up, lads. Good morning to the UV community. Why would United put up Eric Ten Hag players on the market during a rebuild? Writing is on the wall." I don't think it's just Eric Ten Hag players though, bro. I think it's all
everyone.
Everyone's got a price. But I get what you're saying. Like Mina spoke about it, that some of the players that need to go are some of the ones that Ten Hag's bought. Red Baron says, "I want us to lose against Arsenal on purpose." How do you feel about that, Owen?
What with Arsenal? I'd still rather Arsenal win the league.
Like, but at the expense of like, let's lose to them so that we don't just give City.
I don't want Man United to lose any game. Like I want Man United to win every game. I could just never do that thing of like, when we concede. Well, but I'm actually kind of happy. I'm never happy when we concede a goal. I'd still rather Arsenal win the league. I mean, Liverpool aren't going to win the league now, but you don't want City to do the 4. We're getting to the stage where we've got a lot of the things we asked for. We said no, double treble, that's off the table. No Liverpool winning it, that's off the table. Yeah. The only thing left is the City 4-peat.
And we can stop them getting, an FA Cup as well.
FA Cup.
Got a chance to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
If Arsenal do it, we could make City go trophyless.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason with the Arsenal thing is like KG's thing is that they'll be unbearable, but
they will be.
If you win the league,
if you
win the league, you've got the right to be unbearable. We would be the same.
You just have to hold it. Just gotta say
exactly.
Sometimes you just gotta go. You know what? Fair play. Everyone was cussing you, saying Arteta's rubbish, 8th, this, that, and the other. What have you won? This, that, and the other. If he wins the league this year, especially with what they've actually done to do it, and how they've kept up pace.
Yeah.
And to win the league against City, you have to go down to almost the last day. Unless City got other plans. They deserve full credit. You can't win the league and not deserve credit. It's just how it goes.
But I don't think they will. I think City's still going to win it.
I think City will just win it.
I just think in this time of the year, they are untouchable. Know what to do. They are just untouchable, aren't they? They play
the Spurs one. In the Spurs one.
But they literally, they're both doing this. It's like Liverpool and City a few years ago when they're just going to win every game between now and the end of the season. Both of them. Yeah, that's what they do. City around this time of the year, like you tune in and go, I wonder what's going to happen. They're 3-0 up in like 10 minutes. You go,
yeah. But I tell you, it was easy. I take it Forest, man. Chris Woods, some big chances, mate. I don't know. It's the most Spursy thing. That club's just plagued, mate. They're cursed. they get smashed up by Arsenal in a derby, and then they nick a point off City just by running it. Honestly, City ain't even scored a goal in the Premier League at that stadium. It's like a weird. It's so weird, but I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully City don't win it. Right, guys, thanks for watching. Big show later on today.
Chat, by the way.
Oh, Red Baron says I want. Oh, big up, lads. Oh, there it is. It just came through there. Jerry Pereira says. Let me go back up. Big up, lads. Good morning. No, I read that one.
It's from Red Baron.
Oh, caffeine.
How's caffeine? Yeah, working out Owen. Do you know what? Actually, surprisingly well. I thought it was going to be very difficult. I haven't had any caffeine in. It must be like 2 weeks or something. It must be like 2 weeks. Yeah.
On full cold turkey, bro.
Yeah, not too bad. Before I used to, we not do it, get headaches and stuff like that. But not bad, not bad.
Yeah. Jerry Pereira says, no. Rather draw than lose any game. Hate losing. Yeah, losing's awful. And Joe Fleming says, experienced players I would keep in the squad are Casemiro, McTominay, Maguire, Mount, Bruno, Wan-Bissaka, and Martinez. All of the rest can and should go, in my opinion, as in all of the experience. So other than that, so Bruno, you'd let go. Oh, no, he said Bruno. Rashford, you'd let go. Shaw, you'd let go. He's experienced. Dallo, you'd let go. He's experienced. Lindelof, Varane. Okay. Interesting take. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Flexing KG show later on today, 6 p.m. At 7 p.m. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Me and KG got a lot to talk about. It could be a serious show today. We need to get in some big topics. You know what I mean? Some big topics. If anything else is happening in between that, we will let you know. So thanks for watching, guys. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching. Peace.